What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today we are starting part 1 of the Easter weekend of score predictions for the Championship with match day 40, which is taking place in 2 days time. And after that, 3 days after that, we're going to get another round of Championship games. So this is definitely a very quick turnaround in terms of Championship and Premier League football as well. What I'll do, what you see on the left hand side of the screen, will be my Premier League predictions. I wanted to do a video on it, but I've really not got too much time this week. So you can see the Premier League predictions on the left hand side as I'm finishing off this intro. I've also just decided just now to change into the scene just so that you can clearly see how the Lexalexus Football Prediction League is looking, because last week, not all of us did too well. It was a pretty difficult game week for predictions. I only picked up 6 points. But you can see that top 4 race right now is now looking very interesting. It's going to be a blockbuster end to the season. As you know, it's the final time I'm going to do a prediction league of sorts in terms of these videos and what I'm doing in terms of YouTube. So this is really hotting up to be a blockbuster finish, and I'm all here for it. You guys have provided me with great entertainment and good bits of strategy to get your predictions in place. But now back to normal scene, we're nearly ready for score predictions. Last thing to do, if you guys like what you saw, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help. 30 likes is the target for this video today. If you want to follow my socials, they're down there in case you want to delve into my Twitter or my Instagram. If you can hit the subscribe button, that'd be fantastic, as we're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers maybe before the end of the season. I don't think we will personally, but I'm always up for a challenge. If anything, if we can even get close to it, that will be an amazing achievement for us. Please also share the channel too. All those things really do help. But without any further ado, let's start predicting this Easter holiday prediction. Let's start off with Millwall versus Luton. So the first couple of games are real 6-pointers within the Championship as it stands at the moment. We are seeing 5th place versus 4th place in the Championship table in Millwall and Luton Town. And this should be a really interesting encounter here, as we're seeing Luton closing in on a potential last-minute race to try and get into the top 2. A lot's going to have to go their way, and they're going to have to hope that Sheffield United completely collapse down the table. But having said that, Luton just don't look like they're slowing down. Millwall, on the other hand, they've not won in their last 2 games. They've had pretty difficult opponents, though, I wouldn't lie, but they definitely would want to move on, especially for the fact that they were frustrated against West Brom, couldn't get 3 points at the Den against Huddersfield. They'll be wanting to try and get something against their top 6 rivals, and potentially could be good practice if they were to play against each other within the playoff campaign. As a prediction, however, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, simply because I think Luton are better equipped. I think they're the more confident out of the 2. I think Millwall at home, however, are really good. I think they've got the 3rd best home record, Millwall, in the entire Championship. So it's very difficult to get anything out of the Den. So I'm going to give them the respect, and I'm going to say a 1-1 draw in that game. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next up is Blackburn Norwich, and here is another 6-pointer within the top 6, because we've got Blackburn, who are currently in 6th place despite losing in their last game against Birmingham. They've still got a 4-point gap with a game in hand over Norwich, who they're playing in 2 days time. If Blackburn can win this game, they'll get a 7-point gap from Norwich with a game in hand, and that is massive for their chances of getting into the top 6. It has already been an incredible season for Blackburn to stay this competitive within the top 6. But it all flips if Norwich win. If Norwich win, they're only 1 point behind Blackburn. Yes, they would have played the game more, but that would already make things very shaky and very nervy for Blackburn to keep into that top 6 place. The parachute payment team in Norwich are probably going to be the most likely to get a result within the squad that it got, but confidence-wise, they're not playing all too great at the moment. They're winless in their last 4. Blackburn, on the other hand, have done very well, apart from their last defeat against Birmingham in the last game. As a prediction here, Blackburn at home tend to be really consistent, but I'm visualising a high-scoring game. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, actually. It wouldn't surprise me if we see both teams at one point take the lead and then suddenly we get a last-minute equaliser to snatch a draw or a point from each. It wouldn't really surprise me. I just think there'll be plenty of goals. And from the balance of play, Blackburn, if had they continued winning, maybe I would have edged Blackburn. But yeah, their form is a little bit inconsistent for my liking, but so is Norwich's. So I'm going to cancel all of them out and say a 2-2 draw, a very entertaining draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below for that one. Next game to predict is Blackpool versus Cardiff. So another important game and another 6-pointer, but this time regarding the relegation battle. So Blackpool at this moment of time really need to start picking up some wins when possible. And this, I think, is a brilliant opportunity. They're on 35 points, 4 points behind Huddersfield and Cardiff. If they can beat Cardiff here, they will only be 1 point behind Cardiff. Cardiff do have a game in hand, of course, that postponed game against Rotherham. But just likewise what we were saying with Blackburn and Norwich, that nerve is really going to be testing Cardiff's mentality, and for the one that is still holding a little bit of higher ground from the opposition there. But if Cardiff win, this is a huge boost, because their goal difference at the moment is steadily improving as it goes along. They're starting to pick up more consistent results since Sabri Lamucci comes in. They'll be on 42 points, and already they'll start having a tiny bit of breathing space, because recently Cardiff's form, whilst it had a bit of a turnaround, they've really been pulled back in it quite recently. 2 defeats in their last 3. But as I said, a win really does change things for Cardiff. And as a prediction, this has been really tough. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And we don't know what to expect from Blackpool. 1 week they score 6, and then next week they concede 4. So there's really no in-between with this Blackpool team. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-0 away victory to Cardiff. And I think it'll be a big result for the Bluebirds. I think they will be able to bounce back from that disappointing South Wales derby defeat to Swansea, because I felt they played quite well actually and quite unlucky. So I'm going to go 1-0 to Cardiff. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. The next game to predict is QPR Preston. Big red alert signs are really going to go round to QPR. Their fans are very visibly and vocally frustrated with the situation that QPR are finding themselves in right now. It was only at game week 19 where it was between Burnley and QPR for the title, and then about 20 game weeks later, only 12 points being amassed since then. And QPR, if they're not careful, they'll be within touching distance of getting into that bottom 3. Huddersfield can match their points, Cardiff can match their points, and it really does form a scary situation for those fans. Preston as well have actually steadily improved their form. They've had news recently of Ched Evans not being able to basically be around for the rest of the season due to medical problems there. As a prediction here, however, Preston are definitely improving their consistency. I think it's going to be quite tough for them to get into the top 6. They've got a 5-point gap to breach, but that is a somewhat winnable game on paper for Preston, in my opinion, based on where the two squads are at. And as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Preston away win. It could even be more for that. And Preston do tend to have a pretty good record against QPR over their championship encounters. So I'll go 2-0 Preston. Let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Reading Birmingham. So one of the biggest news stories for this week for the championship is that Reading have accepted their 6-point deduction for breaking profit and sustainability rules related to things that they were doing last season. Now, this could really change everything, because that 6-point deduction now for Reading puts them on 40 points, only 1 point above Huddersfield. That is just making me itch with excitement but nerves for Reading, just even knowing this. They've got a game against Birmingham where Birmingham have won back-to-back games now, and you can see winning back-to-back games has actually given Birmingham a bit of a gap from that bottom 3, which is really nice. So winning these back-to-back games is really crucial with these teams in that position in this point on of this season here. As a prediction, I feel like we'll see Reading really gun-ho and wanting to get something here, but Birmingham have improved their form to the point But I think they'll cancel each other out and it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think it'll be a close one. I wouldn't be surprised if we see either team edge it by 1 goal, but I think it's going to be a draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Rotherham versus West Brom. So, Rotherham not doing too well with their form quite recently, still outside of the bottom 3, and they have managed to pick up a draw in their last game, going down to 10 men as well against Hull, which in hindsight is actually a pretty good result, being able to hold on for a point. And considering, we had the likes of Cardiff and QPR not winning in their last game, you could see that was 1 point gained for a Rotherham perspective. Rotherham, however, have to play a West Brom team right now, where West Brom will definitely be eyeing up their chances of trying to get into the top 6. And I don't think this would result in a contest with many goals, to be honest. West Brom have drawn their last 2, but have managed to stay unbeaten with those 2 draws. It was really an opportunity missed for West Brom to try and close the gap within that top 6. As a prediction here, I don't think we'll see many goals. Rotherham will make it tough, and they've definitely picked up a lot of their points. I think a stat is that 80% of Rotherham's points have come from their home games this season. So Rotherham definitely a team that can pick something at the New York Stadium, but I think West Brom might nick it with a 1-0 away win. I think it's going to be a very, very close one, a very tight one. But I'm going to back the Baggies, and this will be a really good result for West Brom, actually, considering how close it is in that part of the table. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next half of Championship games, we're going to go on with Sheffield United versus Wigan. Close to top versus bottom. We've got second place Sheffield United versus 24th place, of course, Wigan Athletic. Wigan, who got a 3 points against QPR, you can arguably say that gets rid of their deduction now that they were handed due to players not getting paid. They've actually already paid the staff and players this month, actually earlier than a lot normal. So it's good to see that the people up top are now starting to care and have that consideration, maybe. Or maybe it's just down to them not wanting to get that deduction again. You would hope it's care and consideration on the staff, really. But whilst things seemingly a little bit on the up between that communication there, Wigan still have a big task on their hands to try and survive this season. Sheffield United have really got promotion in their hands right now. If they start dropping points, then it really opens that door ajar for Middlesbrough and Luton to try and snatch that second place from. But having said that, I do think they've got a slightly favourable running compared to those 2 teams, I would imagine. And I feel like here with Wigan, at this moment of time, I'm not really backing them away from home. I would have if Liam Richardson was in charge, because he seemed to find a way to get good away results for Wigan. But now we're not really seeing those away results that consistently now. So as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Sheffield United. Could even be more comfortable than that, to be honest. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Stoke versus Bristol City. Out of all the teams in the bottom half of the table, Stoke definitely have the best form. And they really are, Stoke now, looking like that they're really getting something going with Alex Neil at the moment. And I'm pleased for Stoke fans that they actually look like and feel that they've got some optimism now. What I would really hate, however, is that for next season, Stoke start going backwards, back to their original ways, where being in the lower mid-table. But Alex Neil is now starting to do a cracking job there. They face a Bristol City side where they really do not have much to play for now anymore. They're 14th place, so this is a real mid-table battle with 13th versus 14th place. But based on form, I think I'm going to back Stoke City here. So prediction, I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Stoke. They seem to be scoring goals for fun. Hoover especially has been scoring quite a fair few amount of games in a row at this point. So I think he'll get on the score sheet again if he's fit and available. So I'll go for Stoke win. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Swansea versus Coventry. Now, this is one of the reverse fixtures I remember so vividly. And Coventry fans will not want me to remind them, but this was when they led Swansea by 3-0. But then they conceded 3 second half goals and the game ended 3-3. It was one of the more incredible games within that game week. It was absolutely amazing, and you can tell it stands out if I'm able to think back, thinking, right, what happened in the reverse game, and I can just remember it. It was such an incredible scoreline and a turn of events, and a brilliant comeback by Swansea City. It was just a shame that after that game, Swansea didn't really kick on, actually, and ironically, from that, Coventry seemed to actually improve their form after it. Swansea have improved their form. They managed to get some consistency now within their wins, and I was very worried for Swansea at one point, but now with Swansea winning back-to-back games, they're now 15th place and can even climb up to the top half of the table if results go their way. They've got to face, of course, a Coventry side where they are sniffing for top 6. Now, they're going to be wanting teams around them to drop points and them to be picking up maximum points. This is not a straightforward game because Swansea are now in form. Coventry, who were in form, lost out in pretty spectacular fashion, losing 4-0 at home to Stoke City. It was one of their worst results of the season, really. So right now, they'll be wanting to try and kick on from that and to try and get back to winning ways. But as a prediction here, the form book is telling me that Swansea, I think, will edge in. Swansea have had a pretty good record against Coventry since Coventry went back up to the Championship. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Swansea. I think it's going to be close, however. Let me know what you think about in the comments down below. Next game, Watford, Huddersfield. Watford, a team seemingly in free fall at the moment, not really being able to perform. They were quite frankly embarrassed in their last derby against Luton Town. Really failed to produce anything there. They face a Huddersfield team where they've had a bit of a resurgence now. Back-to-back wins, an away victory against Millwall, and a home win against Middlesbrough as well. If anyone was to tell you that they'd pick up 6 points for those 2 games, Huddersfield fans would be thinking that I'm going Dunally. You know, unbelievable. Shouldn't work, but it did. And right now, it has meant that Huddersfield are really, really close of getting out of that bottom 3. If they carry on getting those shock wins like this, they will do it. I think they can. But as a prediction, however, I'm going to go for a frustrating 0-0 draw. Reason being, Watford are not finding the back of the net really efficiently at all. And even with this being at Vicarage Road, I just think Neil Warnock has really gotten Huddersfield well drilled at this point that I think is going to be a really tough test for Watford to get a goal. And Huddersfield, you know, could potentially unlock something against that back line, but I think they'll be more determined to try and keep a clean sheet. So I'm going to go 0-0 here. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Not been predicting too many 0-0s, and for the fact there's been so many 0-0s, so I feel like I need to definitely at least predict 1 0-0 to get myself a chance to get some prediction league points. Next game to predict is Sunderland versus Hull. Sunderland managed to pick up an away draw against Burnley. They've been the only team to make Burnley fail to score at home all season, which is brilliant for them. I actually think they performed quite well, actually. Their setup is actually really, really nice as well. And what they make do with the players that got available. And they've got great options coming off the bench as well. Diallo made a really big difference, actually, when he came on. Hull, they managed to get involved also with a 0-0 draw, this time against Rotherham, of course. They were at home in this one, so they probably would feel a bit more disappointed they didn't get anything out of it, especially as they had an extra man in the field for about 20 minutes of that game as well. But Hull at this point, I don't think they're going to be too concerned. They're not going to go down. They're not going to get top 6. They're going to be in that mid-table position. Sunderland, they would make a case that they'll try and get into the top 6. I mean, they're 7 points off it, to be honest, so I do think a lot's going to have to go their way. But definitely Sunderland got something more to play for Hull. So for that reason, I might edge Sunderland here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to the Black Cats. I think it's going to be really, really close. But I think with that extra added pressure that Sunderland are going to go for and just trying to dart into a higher place in the table, and with Hull not having much to play for, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Sunderland win. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. The final game to predict, guys, is Middlesbrough-Burnley. This could turn out to be the biggest game this weekend. And this game could really see Burnley promoted. Yes, you're right. It could really see Burnley promoted. So, in the table currently, Burnley are 17 points clear of third place Middlesbrough. A win here puts Burnley on 87 and still Middlesbrough on 67. With 6 games left, Middlesbrough cannot catch up with Burnley. Now, Luton would have to not win against Millwall for that to happen though. So it's not a guaranteed case that Burnley could get promoted this weekend. But if Luton don't beat Millwall and Burnley win here, they're up. And that is crazy that we could be seeing Burnley promoted on the 7th of April. That is insane if that really does happen here. But Middlesbrough should be looking at this thinking, right, we're going to spoil their party. You know, we're going to try and mix it up with Burnley. I think it's going to be really tough. And considering how poor Burnley were actually in their last game, I don't think it's going to be an easy game whatsoever. But both of those teams were below par last game. So it's going to be very interesting to see if any of them do step up. I think Burnley a bit more likely than Middlesbrough. It was a really close game in the reverse fixture as well. I remember Middlesbrough taking the lead, but then Burnley managed to get a small comeback in place of beat them 3-1. It could be a similar-ish game here, but I'm going to play it safe with this one, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I feel like they'll cancel each other out here. I just don't have the balls to back either one of them here. But a Burnley win and Luton not beating Millwall, which that being the early game, could really set the tone on the importance of this game, actually. We'll potentially see Burnley get promoted, but according to me, I'm not going to get in promoted just yet because I'm predicting 1-1. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So guys, that is my predictions done. Sorry I've released this at a later time today, but my Premier League and my Championship predictions for the first round of the Easter holiday games are now out. And as always guys, make sure you get predicting in the comments down below so you guys can score points for the Championship and the Premier League Prediction League respectively. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It really helps. My socials are down there in case you want to follow it as well. And please share the channel too, because all of this really does help the future of this channel too. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.